Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What we're going to do with this bill actually is give some relief to school districts, and we've been working on this up until the last minute, and so this floor amendment was filed today, and so, Mr. Speaker, I would need to suspend the rules, so I move to suspend the rules to consider House Floor Amendment 3.
Motion is for suspension of the rules for the purpose of allowing the gentleman from Lincoln to act on House Floor Amendment 3. That bill has been pushed to your bill books, or that amendment. Requires a constitutional amendment, is non-debatable. Roll call machine is open for your vote. Those in favor, vote aye. Those opposed, vote nay. And the roll call is open for your vote. All members voted. Clerk will take the roll. There being 81 members voting aye, the rules are suspended for the purpose of allowing the gentleman from Lincoln to act on House Floor Amendment 3.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As the Speaker said yesterday, the governor, for the most part, has done a very good job in navigating this crisis, and currently, the governor is operating according to the emergency powers that are granted to the governor in statute during this time. The authority of the governor is expanded to a limited extent, and it is clear that he cannot circumvent, change, or ignore the laws that he has not been delegated the authority to by the General Assembly or the people of this state to do so. So giving the relief that school districts are needing right now is not capable without changing statute. And since the governor doesn't have the authority, but we know that he needs that, we want to assist him in that. And that's why we are getting ready to adopt a floor amendment, hopefully, that is going to give the authority to the executive branch and the school districts to get the relief that they are badly needing. I'll briefly explain the floor amendment. First, in Section 1, we are taking the limit off of NTI days and allowing districts to request as many as they need, because right now it is unclear how long school districts will be out. As we have heard from the President's administration a couple of times, they are now recommending that it could potentially be the middle of May before they ask schools to go back in. So we're not putting a limit on this, and what they will need to do is submit a request to the commissioner, and the commissioner will approve that. If a school district did not approve NTI days at the beginning of this year, we're going back and giving them the ability to do so. We are also making sure that schools can do distance and tutorial learning in this section as well. In Section 2, if for some reason a school can't get enough hours through these NTI days, and if the schools are able to go back in this year and they want to do some sort of extended schedule, we are giving them the ability to do that by developing a plan with the assistance of the commissioner. And if a district presents compelling rationale that going to an extended schedule creates a hardship, the commissioner can forgive that time. KDE will then give us a report at the General Assembly on October 30th, 2020 on how the districts did on their hours, and they will report that to the Education Committee. In Section 3, we are just saying that state agency children education will be treated in the same manner as those in our public school systems. In Section 4, it says that a local school board must allow emergency leave if any classified or certified employee is sent home or deemed necessary not to be there in relation to COVID-19. In Section 5, allows the district to continue serving free lunches to those children in need of those lunches, but it simply states that they must operate according to the procedures laid out during this health emergency. And KDE will ask for a waiver for the reimbursement to those school districts. And Section 6 allows for assessment waivers to be utilized for this school year if KDE is granted those waivers from the federal government. So this year's testing would be waived if they are granted that waiver. In Section 7, we're directing KDE to seek and utilize waivers involving requirements of the Individuals with Disabilities Acts that may be needed for flexibility. So one of the biggest roles that this will play is where there are deadlines for certain areas of special education students, such as their IEPs. In Section 8, It allows school districts to revise their teacher evaluation plans for this school year. In Section 9, it allows the principal to award extra educational opportunity days to a graduating student in order to meet military service or post-secondary education enrollment obligations. In Section 10, allows school districts to deliver non-renewal contracts or salary notification by mail or email. Section 11, this is a big one for our school districts. It allows school districts to use data from the 2018-2019 school year to determine the average daily attendance for funding of those districts this year. And then in Section 12, it declares that this act is an emergency and it is retroactive to give relief to the districts dating back to March 6th of this year. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank first the gentleman from Pendleton and Scott for having the foresight to start this process a couple of weeks ago in order to give school districts relief. And I'd also like to thank the gentleman from Barron, the gentleman from Ohio, the lady from Kenton 63 for their continued work and their insight as administrators, and of course, the lady from Whitley for her work as the chairman of education. And with that said, Mr. Speaker, at this time, I'd like to yield to the gentleman from Barron for further explanation.